my content name or my TikTok name is simply Dandie, but go by my government name is Nirissie Marin. And I am a Belizean content creator on the rise and budding. I am originally born and raised and currently in Dangriga town, which is the holy mecca of Garifuna in itself, the powerhouse for the culture, if you may, And I've been here for, I know it's some years, but I've been here for a while. And Garifuna has always been interwoven in my life, each and every aspect. Unfortunately, I'm not fluent in it, but I like to say that if I can't, if I'm lacking in one aspect of the culture, that means I could embrace the other parts. For me, it's creating the Garifuna clothes, engaging in music, taking part in the food, how and embracing other parts of the culture that I know I can, embrace and encompass in my daily lives. And, when I am traveling or people get to know my ethnicity and telling them I'm Garifuna is it just feel like I've won the lottery. But I just enjoy being Garifuna and being a Garifuna woman and contributing my skills to the culture is something that I enjoy. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. Growing up Garifuna and being around, I get to be around elders. One of the late great Miss Clarine. Um, Growing up, it was, to say the least, it was amazing. I wouldn't change a thing. And I got to see everything in its raw, true, authentic form. Especially when I went by my aunt's house back when, in the days, late 1990s and Tedecast, I would get to experience her, making bread and Johnny cakes and all of those things, herbal teas from scratch. And I was always fascinated, especially with the elder Garifuna woman. Now, the issue plays where, they would speak a little bit of Garifuna to me, and they would teach me, of course, but we do have a saying here, whereas when you learn something new, you would learn the negative side of it, aka the, foul side before you learn the good part. And I've always grown around elderly Garinago people who are very expressive about themselves. So getting to see how they interact, laugh, talk, dance, share food was very interesting to me. And I think I was very privileged to experience that in its most authentic nature. So that interwoven with me now is just, as the time goes by, you don't get to see people making certain stuff from fire hearts. Like myself, for example, I do partake in that every now and again, but I do believe that there are some people that does it, but it start to dilute as it go along. But it is still there, healthy and strong, but it's just in the back rooms, it's in the shadows. And by doing this, it's bringing it into the forefront. So yeah, growing up, I was so privileged to experience it firsthand.
Mhm. And tell us a little bit about the language aspect, Was Garifuna spoke to you in your household? Were you asked to respond in Garifuna?
Well, in my household, no, but little phrases and um little phrases and little words were spoken. Of course, simple things like hurry up, I'm hungry in Garifuna. In far from my head, I can't say it right now. But when interacting with elderly people, I was expected to respond in Garifuna, and that is where I would say the conflict comes in because I would know little things like kabire, irabiyange, and that type of stuff. But full blown conversations, I wasn't able to partake in that because I'm sad to say that I didn't really understand it, so I wasn't speaking it, nor was I fluent. Whatever materials, like for example, this channel, you always post ways on how to say words. So I definitely refer them to this and be around people who speak it freely because you would have no choice but to learn it and engage in it. Even if it's just little words like I said, kabire, ida biyange, odigia, sereme, you know, those would help a lot. And referring and even asking questions and asking what does this mean and how to pronounce it, that would help. Whatever instrument or whatever materials are out there to learn, be engage with it as much as possible and be with people who speak it. That was the main thing I would say. Well, my creativity stems from being someone who is observant and
Mhm.
someone who gets to know certain things and being very hands on. Now, having that little passion definitely blow up into something, whereas I do know how to sew. I do engage in painting and drawing is every now and again, but my main outlets would be sewing. Now, I do have a brother. His name is Desmond Brigal, known. He teaches clothing and textile at Delil Academy. Now, when he was in Dangrigan, when he had his shop, and when I went there, and he told me, of course, I see him sewing uniforms, but he had I believe it was his niece or someone my age at that time, and he said, you see this? She saw this, by herself. And I was like, wow, so if she could do it, I could. And I started off sewing by my hands. Then I go with YouTube. Of course, the Garifuna outfit that you see behind me, I wasn't taught it. I am a self-taught seamstress, and I'm proud
Mhm.
to say that. With the help of YouTube, of course, and encouragement, and I do have a strong support system that helps me with that. But not only sewing, I do paintings as well. I want to do like, get to Mr. Penkaetano level, but slowly but surely, I can't be a master of all, but I'd like to be. But
Mhm.
yeah, being observant and applying what you see and through trial and error, that definitely do help me a lot, and it's definitely helps with the skills I've acquired up to now.
Do you remember the word for clothing?
Hmm. At this point in time, I'm just guessing and just going with God. But Faridera Garifuna
Anagoni,
Anagon.
Garifuna. All right.
All right, you see?
So that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna share this that you had shared with me when you were sewing this outfit.
And this one, yeah,
Are
is
you
the
it?
the, the female Garifuna outfit. Now, my favorite part is the sleeve. This is what you call a petal sleeve. I saw the sleeve like this for her to get a little more arm movement, and the button pleated and everything. This is at the front, and this is the back. It's got a skirt. I had so much fun making the bottom, and yeah. Because that was my first ever Garifuna outfit I sew from scratch using measurements.
And what was that like for you to be able to create something from nothing, basically?
I had a pre-existing Garifuna outfit as reference. So it was like, to be honest, I shocked myself that day. When people ask me like, oh, you know, for me, and I'm like, I don't know, I think. But when I actually did that, and I'm like, I don't require no classes. I just did it like Nike, and I
Mhm.
to this day I still proud of it. Even though I make my gong, I still proud of it because it was done with intention and it was neat. And I do recall every minute I had to seam rip, but it was worth it at the end because it fit her right. It did right.
Mhm.
So it felt good once I finished it and I see everything come together. Well, I actually was having a brain fart at that time. And I sat down and I said, here's what I know how to do. This is mainly what I stick with, but eventually I wanted to turn into this, like, self evaluate and analyze the talents I have, especially what skills I normally gravitate towards to, which it would be sewing. And I try to, strengthen my skills because, like I said, I want to be the type of seamstress whereas people would afraid for show me the front or a back of a garment and immediately I could make it without having to look on it. That's the level I want to be on. But I said, let's just get started because I'm always a person, I'm very critical of my work. Even though, you know, to the untrained eye, they might look like masterpieces and perfect. In my head, I'd like, all right, it could be better. But I said, with all of this creativity, I want to share it in some way, shape, or form. And learning how to make those things and having people to wear my pieces, that would be something I'm proud of. So thus came forth Gloriously Hers collection. And to be honest, it's still growing. It will turn into whatever it needs to turn into. But for right now, we're focusing mainly on handmade pieces because I do not want to compete with fast fashion and I want to make authentic pieces because as the years progress with the sheer quicker is better. That's how people doing and creating pieces where you love and that will last and is authentic and it's true to culture. I want to, um, be a part of that or incorporate that in what I do. And I want people who wear my clothes to be like, yeah, one of a kind, you know?
I call you a social media sensation in terms of your TikTok and having 2,000 plus followers, you know. What made you decide to go on TikTok and how do you decide what content to share with followers or to share with people
That's a
to
good
get that
question.
terms that you know level of response, you know, of people liking your content, commenting, sharing, you know, deciding to follow you on your on TikTok, you know. You know, what started this whole, you know, process per se.
You did. You.
What?
Yes. You recall a dress I made? That was my very first TikTok video. And
What?
oh, yes. But
I have to go
unfortunately,
back to I
I
have
de-
to go back to the beginning then.
I deactivate that page because
Uh,
I I had like I get tired of it. I said, you know what? Let's start again, but let's see this through to the end. But my very, very first TikTok video was showing people how to make that little wraparound dress I made for you. And then I'm like, wow. And from that, I got a slew of followers. I was at 1,000 at that time, but I unfortunately I was going through something mentally and I just deactivated and I start all over again. But I noticed I'm getting great reactions from videos I get for showing, and showing people like the behind the scenes of what goes on, especially with sewing. It's like a I want to say taboo, but people just believe that, oh, they just for run it and hit the machine. Well, there's more that goes into that, and I really wanted to show people like this is what all the efforts and the unseen things that goes into making something for somebody. And I'm trying to create content, whereas moving forward, that is, whereas I could create something, give people an estimate of what it would cost, or so that they can understand why others, or even myself, charge what I charge. But I just decided that, people enjoy watching me, so they always have question when they see me in person. So I like, let's share that on social media.